Welcome to the new religion of the 21st century, instant gratification. It seems as though everyone is chasing it, sacrificing their mental health to obtain it, sacrificing their dignity and reputation at the altar of social media. Everyone seems to be okay with being reduced to pleasure-seeking machines, willing to sacrifice all that is near to them, willing to ruin relationships and friendships for it. Boredom is now seen as the worst sin in this modern religion. It can be hard to feel normal when the normal keeps shifting towards insanity. George Orwell's quote summarizes the situation of the modern world beautifully. Perhaps a lunatic was simply a minority of one. People can't tolerate being bored anymore. A moment of thought without distraction is simply too much to bear. Society deems any sort of boredom as an indicator of a failing relationship. People ruin friendships and relationships when confronted with boredom. I'm not saying you shouldn't have fun, but it's unsustainable to only have fun. Look no further than social media advocating for boredom as one of the worst things that could happen in a relationship. But is this a good thing? Have we all become less sentient, not willing to exercise our logical reasoning to understand a situation where our partners, and instead opting for cheating because it requires less thought and reflection? Such is the cost of being a pleasure-seeking machine, not building anything of meaning. Boredom is a natural byproduct of work in progress. Most human progress takes a large investment of time and effort. It takes a lot of focus and doing things that you don't necessarily want to do in the moment. You could be watching a movie, going to a party, or doom scrolling on social media instead. Hard work is simply not fun for the most part. Not being overwhelmed by dopamine is kind of normal when you're working towards something. It gives us time to reflect on what's important. It gives us time to detox from instant gratification. When people are constantly chasing dopamine, they don't have time to reflect or an appreciation for self-reflection. So many people feel defeated in life as a result. It's a sad state of existence when most people haven't built the mechanisms to work towards something. They simply never had to. iPad kids being a glaring example of this. When the high fades, they are faced with an emptiness that results from facing the reality that being happy and stimulated at all times is not sustainable. We have mechanisms that build tolerance over time. What's worse is that the neural pathways in our brains change and the urge becomes stronger over time, making us want instant gratification more for less of a return. But hey, there's always another high to latch onto when the current high isn't hitting just right. It seems as though society is turning into a bunch of zombies before our very eyes. Look no further than literally anywhere outside. Everyone's face is plastered on their phones. But hey, it's the sacrifice we pay for the modern religion of instant gratification. Soon you'll be ascended to the ranks of being a pleasure-seeking machine, as our modern pastors preach on social media. Selfishness and avoiding boredom go hand in hand. I'm focusing on myself. I deserve better. My happiness is more important. These phrases are taking over modern discussions. The values of the narcissist are being raised to the ranks of being a societal virtue. Expressing selfishness and valuing your own happiness at the cost of another person is seen as something good. Thinking of others is boring compared to thinking about myself. One of the foundations of a functioning society is altruism, in the sense that we used to recognize the importance of being useful to one another. Healthy relationships, both intimate and friendships, fall into the same category. In order for our human relationships to function properly, selfishness can't be used as a foundational building block. A lot of what makes a relationship function is a boring routine. This is largely forgotten in today's society, which has led to the isolation in society that most of us experience. Breaking up relationships due to boredom and routine. Most people expect others to do what their heart desires at all moments, and they shouldn't have to change a thing about themselves. It's far too boring to reflect on yourself. People feeling a deep sense of frustration and depression when they are forced to work or do something other than serving their own cravings for instant gratification. These new philosophies have come at the cost of a rise of loneliness and mental health declines, but at least degenerate forms of entertainment are only a click away. We no longer take pride in doing our part for society. Why bother when everyone else will just take advantage of you anyways? The majority wins. Most people just resort to apathy and watching the decline. Understanding the nature of human progress is also important. No surprise, it's incredibly repetitive and boring. Human decisions alter probabilities and don't produce guaranteed outcomes, in the sense that no outcome is guaranteed, but only made more probable. If I work out one day a week for 15 minutes, odds are I won't influence my physique all that much. I might over the course of many years, but it's not likely. If I choose to follow a multi-day gym regime, the probability of achieving my desired physique seek increases the more I invest energy or decisions into the cycle. Think of things as compounding probabilities. The reason why most of us feel lost and like we haven't accomplished anything is largely due to our inability to combat boredom and committing to doing productive things that we don't want to do. We are immediately drawn to instant gratification when the opportunity arises, stimulating at all possible opportunities. I think this is why many people feel lost and like they aren't where they want to be in life. They don't delay instant gratification and commit to routine when they are trained to serve every vice with a click from the tip of their fingers. No guidance. After all, denying instant gratification is the sin of the 21st century, sacrificing our ability to achieve anything at the altar of degeneracy, chasing that surge of dopamine, repenting for the sin of boredom. In this society, loneliness seems inevitable, but if you ask me, if I had to choose between being lonely or being lonely, I would choose the loneliness with less negative life consequences.